as well. So we are back with my super random facts book, but I think this is going to be my last video with this book. I'm gonna need to buy a new super random facts book because it has 1144 random facts and we are on number 900, so yeah, we're almost done. But we're gonna have this book again today, and I will buy a new book for my random facts videos. But yeah, if you haven't seen the videos with this book, it has like a bunch of different categories of random facts. So yeah, if you want to see all of the other categories, go check out my other videos with it. But today, I think we are in the middle of, what is this category? Nature, Earth, and the Universe is what we're in the middle of, and then the next one is plants, flowers, and trees. And yeah, I guess we'll go pretty much to the end of this book, so yeah. I hope you enjoy, sit back and relax. Sorry about any background noise. Also, yeah, I'm back home at my parents' house, and my mom removed the Christmas tree from my room that was in here for like a year and a half, and now I have this lovely plant thing, so I don't know. Every time I come home, there's always surprises. So, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Sit back, relax, and let's get started. So, fact number one. Sand from the Sahara is blown by the wind all the way to the Amazon, recharging its minerals. The desert literally fertilizes the rainforest. Number two. Over 99% of all species, equating to 5 billion species in total that have ever been on Earth, have died out. Number 3. Lightning strikes are not as rare as you think. Approximately 100 strikes hit the Earth per second. Each bolt can have up to 1 billion volts of electricity. Number 4. According to records, the last time that all the planets in the solar system were aligned was 561 BC. The next alignment will take place in 2854. We will not be here to see that. Number 5. The moon is capable of having moonquakes. They are less frequent and intense as the ones on Earth, however. Number 6. In 1977, we received a radio signal from space that lasted 72 seconds and was dubbed the WOW signal. To this day, we still don't know where it came from. Aliens. Number 7. On Monday, March 23rd, 2178, Pluto will complete its full orbit since its original discovery in 1930. Number 8. It takes 40,000 years for a photon of light to travel from the core of the sun to its surface. For the same photon to travel from the sun to Earth, it only takes 8 minutes. What? Number 9. Occasionally in the Arctic, the sun can appear square when it's on the horizon. Number 10. The Sahara is only in a dry period and is expected to be green again in 15,000 years. Number 11. Sunsets on Mars are blue. Alright, now we're on to plants, flowers, and trees. Number 12. In Australia, there are trees that grow several different types of fruits known as fruit salad trees. That's cool. Number 13. average tree is made up of about 1% of living cells at any given time. Number 14. Bamboo can grow up to 35 inches or 91 centimeters in a single day. Number 15. The Maldive coconut is the largest growing seed in the world. Number 16. In 2012, a Russian scientist regenerated an Arctic flower known as Silene stenophylla that has been extinct for over 32,000 years from a seed that was buried by an ice age squirrel. Oh. Number 17. The Eucalyptus deglupta, or more commonly known as the rainbow tree, is a tree that sheds its outer bark to reveal a bright green inner bark that turns blue, purple, orange, and maroon as it matures. Number 18. The average lifespan of a redwood tree is 500 to 700 years old, while some coast redwoods have been known to live to over 2,000 years. They can grow to over 360 feet in height, or 109 meters. Number 19. There are more artificial Christmas trees sold in the world than real ones. Bonus question for the day. To comment down below, do you have a real or a fake Christmas tree at Christmas time? Number 20. The world's biggest flower garden sits in the middle of a desert in Dubai, which has over 500,000 fresh flowers. Number 21. The country Brazil is named after a tree. 22. Only 15% of all plants are on land. That's interesting. Number 23. You can create 170,000 pencils from the average tree. Number 24. There is a species of orchid that looks pretty much like a monkey. It only grows at high elevations in certain mountainous areas of Ecuador, Colombia, and Peru. It looks like a monkey. Number 25. The baobab tree native to Madagascar can hold up to 31,000 gallons or 120,000 liters of water. Number 26. There is a flower called the chocolate cosmos that smells like chocolate but isn't edible. 27. There are roses that exist that are all black, but they can only be found in Turkey. Number 28. Sunflowers can be used to clean up radioactive waste. Their stems and leaves absorb and store pollutants. It's also why the sunflower is the international symbol for nuclear disarmament. Disarmament. Number 29. The largest organism in the known world today is a fungus that lives in the mountains of Oregon. It spans across 2.4 miles or 3.8 kilometers. Number 30. The oldest recorded tree in the world is reported to be 9,550 years old, located in Dalarna, Sweden. Number 31. In 2009, a new species of pitcher plant was found by scientists in the Philippines jungle, becoming the largest carnivorous plant ever discovered. It's called the Nepenthes attenboroughi, named after Sir David Attenborough. Carnivorous plants usually eat things like insects and spiders, but this one is so big that it actually eats rats. auction to buy a license plate labeled 1, making it the world's most expensive license plate. Number 35. A 53-year-old Chinese millionaire works as a street cleaner for $228 per month to set a good example for her children. Number 36. In 2013, a man was abducted from his home right in front of his wife by 2 masked men with guns. Luckily, he returned 2 days later unharmed. It was later discovered that he staged his own kidnapping just so he could go out and party with his friends. That's crazy. It sounds a lot like that, like Netflix show, that case. I don't remember what the show is called, but they weren't faking it, but it sounds similar. Number 37. A study by the University of Westminster in the UK determined that watching horror movies can burn up to almost 200 calories, the same as a half-hour walk. Number 38. One of the iTunes user agreement policies explicitly states that you're not allowed to use the program to build nuclear, chemical, or biological weapons. Number 39. If you inhale a pea, it is possible to sprout and grow in your lungs. Number 40. The cheapest gas prices in the world belong to Venezuela at just over a penny a liter. Number 41. When you see an advertisement of a watch, it's almost always 10 past 10. Number 42. Most of the dust you'll find in your house will be your own dead skin. Number 43. The majority of lipsticks contain fish scales. Okay. Number 44. North Korea is the biggest counterfeiter of U.S. currency. Number 45. In Russia, wealthy citizens often hire fake ambulances that beat the city traffic, which are known as ambulance taxis. They can cost as much as $200 an hour, have luxurious interiors, refreshments, and include caviar and champagne. Sounds like a pretty good deal, honestly. Number 46. In 1985, a New Orleans man named Jerome Moody drowned at a party attended by 100 lifeguards who were celebrating having made it through the summer without a single drowning at a city pool. Oh my god. Number 47. The country of Niue, an island north of New Zealand, put various Pokemon on its $1 coins in 2001. They included Pikachu, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, and Charmander. Number 48. In the early years of the 20th century, horses were causing so much pollution with their poop that automobiles were seen as the green alternative. Number 49. It was known that after examining the animals, Charles Darwin used to eat them too. Really learning a lot about Charles Darwin today. Number 50. Walt Disney used to visit his parks in disguise and test ride operators to make sure that they weren't rushing guests. Number 51. All U.S. presidents pay for their own food while staying at the White House. I think I just heard that, and I was like, interesting. The companies Audi, Bentley, Ducati, Lamborghini, and Porsche are all owned by Volkswagen. At the University of Oaksterdam, you can graduate with a degree in cannabis cultivation. is currently 147 million ounces of gold in Fort Knox at the price of about $1,776 per ounce. That's worth $261.6 billion. Number 55. More people die from attempting selfies than from shark attacks. Number 56. In 2012, a woman from New York named Deborah Stevens donated a kidney to her boss and was fired almost immediately after. Ouch. Jesse James, a notorious outlaw from the 1800s, once gave a widow who housed him enough money to pay off her debt collector and then robbed the debt collector as the man left the widow's home. Number 58. Martin Luther King Jr. got a C in public speaking. I love facts like that. That's great. Number 59. You're more likely to die on the way to buying a lottery ticket than you are to winning the lottery. Number 60. If you're taller than 6'2" or 2 meters, you can't become an astronaut. Not a problem for me. Number 61. Both companies Louis Vuitton and Chanel burn their products at the end of the year, preventing them to be sold at a discount. Number 62. A man named Sogen Kato was thought to be the oldest man in Tokyo until 2010, when officials arrived at his home to wish him a happy 111th birthday, only to find his mummified remains. It turns out he had been dead for 30 years, and his family had been collecting his pension money. Wow. Number 63. Falling in love produces the same high as taking cocaine. Number 64. At the end of the 1990s, BMW actually had to recall their GPS systems because male German drivers didn't want to take directions from a female driver. 65. On Good Friday in 1930, the BBC announced there was no news, followed by piano music. Number 66. In 2012, a 63-year-old man named Wallace Weatherhold from Florida had his hand bitten off by an alligator, and he was charged with illegally feeding the animal. That's the best fact I've heard. Number 67. The average commuter wastes around 42 hours waiting in traffic each year. The Romans considered women with unibrows attractive and desirable from 753 to 476 AD. Lots of women who didn't naturally have unibrows used to paint to join their eyebrows to look prettier. I would have a unibrow. Not quite, but yeah. Number 69. If you wear headphones for an hour, it will increase the amount of bacteria you have in your ear by 700 times. Number 70. Today there are more people suffering from obesity than there are suffering from hunger. 71. Despite having billions of dollars and being one of the wealthiest businessmen in the world, IKEA founder Ingvar Kamprad is notoriously cheap. He lives in a small home, eats at IKEA, takes the bus, and only flies economy class. That would be me. 72. Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, Albert Einstein, Walt Disney, and Mark Zuckerberg all dropped out of school wasn't trusted to write the U.S. Declaration of Independence because it was feared he would conceal a joke in it. 74. President JFK purchased over 1,000 Cuban cigars just hours before he ordered the Cuban trade embargo of 1962. That's terrible. Number 75. Carl Gugasian is serving 17 years in jail after robbing 50 banks over a 30-year period, stealing $2 million. I feel like you should be able to do better than $2 million if you robbed 50 banks, but just saying. Number 76. A single factory in Ireland makes more than 90% of the world's Botox. Paul Getty was a billionaire who refused to pay the ransom of $16 million when his grandson was kidnapped. The group who kidnapped him later sent Paul the boy's severed ear, and he finally accepted and said he'd pay $3 million. He actually only gave a little over $2 million because that's all he could claim on tax. What a douche. Number 78. In 2011, a 99-year-old Italian named Antonio C. divorced his 96-year-old wife Rosa C. after finding secret love letters revealing that she had an affair in the 1940s. Number 79. Under extremely powerful pressure, peanut butter can be turned into diamonds. Number 80. In 2018, 4 billion people have access to the internet, yet 844 million people still don't have access to clean water. In 1859, English settler Thomas Austin released 24 rabbits onto his property in Australia. He thought that the introduction of a few rabbits could provide a touch of home, in addition to a spot of hunting. By 1920, the rabbit population had reached 10 billion. Good job, Thomas. On average, brunettes have less hairs on their head compared to red-haired and blondes. Number 83. Hitler was Time's Man of the Year in 1938. 84. Saddam Hussein, the late president of Iraq, wrote several novels and a number of poems which were published anonymously. 85. In 2017, 19% of brides said they met their spouse online. This industry now brings in $3 billion a year. Number 86. In order to be a London black cab driver, one is expected to know 25,000 roads and 50,000 points of interest to pass the test called the Knowledge. Applicants usually need 12 appearances and 34 months of preparation to pass it. I've heard that before. Do cab drivers get like an insane amount of money in London or something? Because, like, who would do that? I don't know. Number 87. Deceased North Korean leader Kim Jong-il's official biography lists among his achievements a 38-shot round of golf, the ability to control weather, the need to never have to poop, and being the creator of the hamburger. I think I heard that North Koreans believe that their leaders don't poop, which is funny. Number 88. It costs 1.5 cents to make a penny, and the U.S. Mint issued $46 million worth of these coins in 2018. was a good last fact for that category. The next one is called royalty. So facts about royalty. Number 91. Queen Elizabeth II has someone to wear the shoes she gets before she wears them to make sure they're comfortable. All of these are going to be Queen Elizabeth in the present tense because I've had this book since before she died. I think it was written in like 2020 or something. So, number 92. The Queen of England legally owns 1/3 of the Earth's surface. 93. In the UK, the Queen cannot be arrested no matter what crime she commits. This is because the Crown itself is the prosecuting force in the UK, and hence the Crown cannot verse the Crown itself. The other members of the royal family do not share the same immunity. Interesting. I have a question. If Prince William were to commit a crime and be sentenced to jail right now, but then, like, the king died, like, would Prince William still become king in jail, or would it be, like, passed to Prince George? Just a food for thought. Number 94. The King of Thailand was actually born in Cambridge, Massachusetts, in the United States in 1927. When he was born, the hospital room that he was delivered in was briefly declared Thai territory so that he could be born on Thai soil. Wow. Number 95. A prince in Abu Dhabi spent $2.5 million to create a Mercedes-Benz with a V10 engine with 1,600 horsepower that goes 0 to 100 in less than 2 seconds, running on biofuel. Number 96. Queen Elizabeth does not have a passport. Since the British passport is issued in her name, she does not need to possess one. However, the other members of the royal family do. Royal tradition states that Prince Charles and Prince William cannot board the same plane together in case there is a crash and the monarch loses 2 heirs at once. Technically, the same rule applies for Prince William and Prince George. They can't board a plane together. What about like a car? Or like doing anything? I don't know. Okay. The next category is science. Sound can travel quicker through solids. This is because molecules in a solid medium are much closer together than those in a liquid or gas, allowing sound waves to travel more quickly through it. It is false that you can bite through a finger as easily as a carrot. It takes 200 newtons to bite through a raw carrot and 1,485 newtons just to cause a fracture to a finger. Number 100. A solid glass ball can bounce higher than a rubber ball when dropped from the same height. A solid steel ball can bounce even higher than a solid glass ball. Hot water freezes quicker than cold water. This is called the Pemba effect, named after a Tanzanian student who discovered it. Light doesn't actually move at the speed of light. The full quote is actually the speed of light in a vacuum, which is 186,282 miles per second. If you were able to move at this speed, you could go around Earth 7.5 also known as frozen smoke, is one of the world's lowest density solids, being made up of anywhere from 95 to 99% air. It's almost impossible to see or feel, but it can support 4,000 times its own weight. 105. The first man-made element was technetium, created in 1937. It is used for medical diagnostic studies and as a corrosion inhibitor for steel. 106. The scientific term for pins and needles is paresthesia. I just learned that in my neuroscience class. Number 107. Only 0.1% of an atom is matter. The rest is air. 108. If you put an apple in the sea, it will float because it's less dense than seawater. Sterling silver is not completely made out of silver. A little copper is added as pure silver is too soft and would bend otherwise. Number 110. In 1951, a woman named Henrietta Lacks died of cervical cancer, but her tumor cells were removed and later discovered to be the first ever human cells that could thrive in a lab. Her cells have been the subject of more than 74,000 studies, many of which have yielded profound insights into cell biology, cancer, vaccine, and cloning. Highly recommend reading the book on Henrietta Lacks. Super interesting. Her cells that they took from her without her knowledge, like they took cells from her cervical cancer without her knowing, and they're immortal. Like they just keep growing and growing and growing. And like I've worked on HeLa cells in labs that I've worked on. Like I work on her cells that were taken in 1951. But her family, she was like a poor black woman, and her family is still extremely poor, even though her cells like have led to so many advancements in science. So it's a big issue because her family is like struggling to buy food, and she's the reason that we've created, like she's probably the reason we created the COVID vaccine and saved millions of lives. So yeah. Anyway, LSD has been known to cure post-traumatic stress disorder, such as in the case of Yehiel Denur, a Holocaust survivor who, after taking the drug, was able to sleep for the first time in 30 years without nightmares. 2 neuroscientists were successful in implanting a fake memory in a mouse's brain in 2012. The mouse was aghast as it remembered something that never really happened to it. How do they know that? A flame is round and blue when in zero gravity. 114. Scientists from Georgia State University have found that monkeys are susceptible to optical illusions, just like humans. To test this, Capuchin and Reese's monkeys looked at a visual illusion where 2 dots were surrounded by rings, but were actually the same size, and they were tricked much like many people were. Interesting. Again, I don't know how they assess that a monkey is tricked by something, but okay. Next category is called shocking. Number 115. In 2011, a 46-year-old man named Mark Bradford hunted down and choked a 13-year-old boy who killed him several times in the game Call of Duty. In 1967, the Prime Minister of Australia went missing. It was only 4 killers with messy handwriting kill more than 7,000 people and injure over 1 million people each year due to receiving the wrong medication. 119. In 1954, a man named John Thomas Doyle committed suicide by jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. His suicide note read absolutely no reason other than, "I have a toothache." Number 120. The first recorded human flight with artificial wings in history was in the 6th century in China. Emperor Cao Yang would strap prisoners to kites and throw them off a building to see if they could fly. That is shocking. The longest someone has been in a coma and come out of it is 37 years. A 6-year-old went to the hospital for a routine appendectomy, went under general anesthesia, and didn't come out for reasons doctors can't explain. God, imagine waking up and you're 43 and you were just 6. That is wild. What do you even do with someone who's 43 that, like, only lived till they were 6? Number 122. In 1567, Hans Steininger, who once had the longest beard in the world at 4.5 feet or 1.4 meters long, died when he broke his neck after accidentally stepping on it. Number 123. Louis Garavito, one of the world's most dangerous serial killers with 140 victims, had his sentence reduced to only 22 years and could be out as early as 2021. I wonder if he's out now, because this was written before that. In 2006, an extremely old clam was found by a group of researchers in Iceland. In order to find out its age, researchers didn't count the rings on the outside of the clam, but instead they opened it and counted the rings on the inside, causing the clam to die. The clam turned out to be 507 years old, the world's oldest animal. Why did they kill it? That was stupid. Lake Chagan is the only lake artificially created by a nuclear test. Even though the nuclear test was fired in 1965, it's still unsafe for swimming due to radiation. In 2008, a Japanese man noticed that food in his home was disappearing, so he set up a webcam and discovered that a 58-year-old homeless woman was living in his closet for an entire year. Wow. Ramon Artagavietia once survived a sinking ship in 1871. He was so scared from this experience, he didn't get on another ship until 41 years later. Unfortunately for him, that ship was the Titanic. Wow. In 2011, a New Zealand trucker named Stephen McCormick fell on a high-pressure valve, which lodged in his butt and inflated him to twice his size, nearly killing him. He did survive, but it took a full 3 days to burp and fart out the excess air. What? Wow. Vending machines kill about 13 people a year. The biggest family in the world is from Baktang, India, where father Zayana Chana has 94 children by 39 different wives. Panasonic have banishment rooms where they transfer surplus employees and give them useless tasks or even nothing to do until they become disheartened or depressed enough to quit on their own, thus avoiding paying them full benefits. Okay. In 1886, a man named H. Holmes built a 3-story hotel in Chicago specifically to kill people in it. Its design included stairways to nowhere and a maze of over 100 windowless rooms, which he used to kill over 200 people. Wow. There has only been 240 years of peace in the last 3,000 years. What does peace mean? Like no war? Number 135. An Indonesian boy named Aldi Rizal began chain smoking when he was just 18 months old and continued smoking over 40 cigarettes a day until he was 5 years old when he was sent to rehab. That's crazy. The strongest beer in the world is called snake venom, containing 67.5% alcohol. It is estimated that malaria has been responsible for half of the deaths of everyone who has ever lived. That's crazy. 138. The world record for the most bones broken in a lifetime was held by Evel Knievel, the pioneer of motorcycle long jumping exhibitions, who has suffered 433 fractured bones. Approximately 1 in every 6 Jewish people killed in the Holocaust died at Auschwitz. Sharks kill about 12 people a year. People kill about 11,000 sharks an hour. Really? Jeez. 4 American presidents have been killed by gunshot. Yeah. In 1967, a magazine called Berkeley Barb published a fake story about extracting hallucinogenic chemical from bananas to raise moral questions about banning drugs. Unfortunately, people didn't realize it was a hoax and began smoking banana peels to try to get high. You are 14% more likely to die on your birthday than any other day. Be careful out there. In Bern, Switzerland, there's a 500-year-old statue of a man eating a sack of babies, and nobody is sure why. 145. The China National Highway 110 traffic jam was considered the longest traffic jam in history. It was 62 miles or 100 kilometers long and lasted 11 days. I would simply get out of my car and leave it there. 146. The brothers Adolf Dassler and Rudolf Dassler, who started Puma and Adidas, were part of the Nazi Party. The youngest mother in medical history was Lina Medina from Peru, who gave birth when she was 5. I've heard about that. Your mobile phone carries 10 times more bacteria than your toilet seat. As of 2016, about 280 climbers have died on Everest. Their bodies are so well preserved that they are used as markers. there's a lot more people that have died in the 8 years since that was taken. Okay, the next category is about sports. Number 150. The temperature of tennis balls affects how a ball can bounce. Wimbledon goes through over 50,000 tennis balls a year that are kept at 68 degrees Fahrenheit or 20 degrees Celsius to make sure only the best are used. Number 151. In 2022, the World Cup will be played in Lusail, Qatar, a city that doesn't even exist yet. That already happened. The longest human jump is further than the longest horse jump. In the 1968 Olympics, the world record was set at 8.9 meters, while the record for a horse is 28 feet or 8.4 meters. Jousting is the official sport of the state of Maryland. Today's gold medals are only 1.3% gold. The last time a pure gold medal was given out was in the 1912 Stockholm Olympics. 155. A tribe in West Africa known as the Matami tribe played a version of football which consists of using a human skull as the ball. In 2013, Sean Conway became the first man ever to swim the length of Great Britain. The 900-mile or 1,400-kilometer trek took him 135 days to complete. 90 were spent in water, while the rest were spent avoiding bad weather and resting. There is a real sport called banzai skydiving, which involves throwing your parachute out of the plane and then jumping out after it. No, thank you. 158. Quebec only finished paying off its 1976 Summer Olympics debt 30 years later in 2006. Wow. Number 159. The most popular sport in the world is football. Second place goes to cricket, followed by field hockey. As a child, Muhammad Ali was refused an autograph from his boxing idol Sugar Ray Robinson. When Ali became a prized fighter, he vowed to never deny an autograph request, which he honored throughout his entire career. That's cool. In 1984, when the Air Jordans were introduced, they were banned by the NBA. Michael Jordan wore them anyways, as Nike was willing to pay the $5,000 fine each time he stepped onto the court. In 1947, Sugar Ray Robinson, one of the greatest boxers of all time, backed out of a fight because he had a dream that he was going to kill his opponent. After being convinced to fight, he went into the ring and actually killed his opponent. Wow. The highest scoring soccer game in history, recognized by the Guinness Book of World Records, was 149-0 between two teams in Madagascar in 2002. It happened because one of the teams began scoring on themselves in protest of a bad call by one of the referees. There's a sport called squirrel fishing, in which participants try to catch squirrels and lift them into the air by using a nut on a fishing pole. 165. Wales holds a World Mountain Bike Bog Snorkeling Championship. Contenders have to ride a mountain bike as fast as they can along the bottom of a bog, which has a 6.5 feet or 2 meter deep water-filled trench. To make it more difficult, distribution centers can be expected to walk up to 11 miles or 17 kilometers per shift, picking up an order once every 33 seconds. When they made Breakout for Atari, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak agreed to split the pay 50-50. Atari gave Jobs $5,000 for it, but Jobs only told Wozniak he got $700, only giving him $350. Intel employs a futurist named Brian David Johnson, whose job is to determine what life would be like to live 10 to 15 years in the future. Yang Wanqing, Lenovo's CEO, received a $3 million bonus as a reward due to record profits in 2012, which he redistributed to 10,000 of Lenovo's employees. He did the exact same thing in 2013. Good for him. The creator of famous games Mario, Zelda, and Donkey Kong was banned from riding a bicycle. This is because he became so valuable to Nintendo that they didn't want to risk anything happening to him, forcing him to drive a car instead. I feel like driving a car is, like, less safe. I don't know. A hacker group named UG Nazi once took down Papa John's website because the company was 2 hours later than expected in delivering their food. There are at least 7 apps on the App Store that are priced $999.99, which is the maximum price you can charge on the App Store. What are they? What? If a Google employee dies, their spouse gets half their salary for the next 10 years, stock benefits, and their children get $1,000 a month until they're 19. Jeez. Number 174. Facebook tracks and records your IP address as well as the URL of every website you visit that uses any of its social plugins, such as the like button. There are fewer than 50 of the original Apple I computers in existence, with some of them selling for over $50,000. In 1998, Larry Page and Sergey Brin, the founders of Google, offered to sell their little startup to Alta Vista for $1 million so they could resume their studies at Stanford. They were rejected and have now grown the empire to $101 billion. 2008, only to later buy it back for $1 million in 2013. Futureem.org is a website where you can send e-letters to yourself at any time in the future. Jeff Bezos' net worth is so high that it wouldn't be worth him picking up a $100 bill if he dropped it. In fact, he has to spend $28 million a day just to stop getting richer. The average iPhone costs $200 to make. Watson IBM's artificially intelligent computer learned how to swear from the Urban Dictionary. Because of that, it began talking sassy, so scientists had to remove the entire Urban Dictionary database from its memory. Internet addiction disorder, also known as IAD, is a real mental disorder in which somebody engages in addictive, compulsive, or pathological internet use. There are over 4 million apps available for download on both the Android and Apple App Store. 300 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute, and almost 5 billion videos are watched on YouTube every single day. I am helping with that. Yeah. Amazon is the first company to ever hit $1 trillion. Number 191. The first web page went live on August 6th, 1991, and was dedicated to information. Over 90% of mobile phone sales in Japan are for waterproof devices because the Japanese are so fond of their mobile phones, they even use them in the shower. Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and Facebook alone have 1.2 million terabytes of information stored on the internet. If you Google Zerg Rush, Google will begin to eat the search page. Somebody go try it. The first email was sent in 1971. The email was sent to the computer right next to it as a test. The ringfinders.com is an online site where you can find metal detecting experts you can hire for a fixed fee to search for and find items of jewelry that you may have lost. They've successfully covered 3,000 items worth over $5.2 million. 1,000 selfies are posted to Instagram every 10 seconds. This is 93 million selfies a day. I feel like it would honestly be more than that. 97% of all emails sent are spam. Number 199. Digital storage doesn't go up in measurements of thousands. 1,024 bits make a byte. 1,024 bytes make up a kilobyte, followed by megabyte, gigabyte, terabyte, and petabyte. What? I thought 8 bits made a byte, not 1,024. I don't know. And number 200. In April of 2014, the Danish government built an exact replica of their country in the online game Minecraft. this video has been long enough. But I guess I have 44 more facts in this book that I'll probably go to on Patreon. So yeah, some more in this category, and then there's a category about war and military. And I think that's it. So yeah, I'll go do those 44 facts over on Patreon, but I hope that you enjoyed this. I feel like the background noise is a little bit better at my house here, but there was definitely some dog barking going on, which is annoying, but I hope that you enjoyed this nice long fact video. Yeah, I'll have to get a new book and continue on, but thank you guys for watching. I had a lot of fun, and I will see